Welcome to the Dollpreneur podcast. I'm your host, Georgette Taylor, where we celebrate the creatives, innovators, and entrepreneurs shaping the doll industry today. We're talking with Kia and Rickey Davis, the husband and wife team behind Early Affirmation Dolls. Their Kyya doll is more than just a toy. It's a powerful tool for building confidence and self-esteem in young girls through positive affirmations, which I absolutely love. So we're going to dive into their journey, the inspiration behind their brand, and how they're making an impact one doll at a time. Thank you so much, Kia and Rickey, for being on the Dollpreneur podcast. I'm so excited to have you here.
You're very welcome.
Thanks for having us.
You're so welcome. So I'm gonna ask you, Kia. I love the mission behind the Early Affirmation Dolls. I love affirmations. I use them all the time. I even actually created like positive word cards for affirmations. So I'm very much into that space. But I want you to tell me the moment when you first realized that your daughter's affirmations, could become something bigger, and what inspired you to turn that into business?
We started out with our daughter doing the affirmations, and she was a baby, couldn't talk or anything. We would just stand in the mirror and say the 4 affirmations, and we call those now the core 4 affirmations that we have in our doll. One day, one of us, our ideas like just so much. We don't know which one of us really came up with it. We were like, more kids need to hear this. And at the time, we were like, okay, but we didn't have like any of the logistics kind of mapped out. It was just very much like, okay, we know that more kids need to hear this, but so my mother-in-law passed in 2020.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. With that hurt, it caused us like a tremendous hurt, but we were like determined to turn our pain into purpose. So one of the things that she loved to do with our daughter was learning through play. Specifically, she had like this little Dora doll, and the two of them would just be so happy just playing. So we were like, okay, so we love the affirmations, and we have been saying it with our daughter, and because we wanted to honor her legacy. Them two and their doll play really inspired it, so we kind of just did a mashup. And so Kyya was born an affirmation doll.
Nice. I love that idea, bringing the doll and the play that your mother-in-law did with her, because I had an amazing mother-in-law, and she just blessed me with such a great opportunity to see that mother-in-laws could be just as beautiful and sweet as having a mom. She was really like my second mom. So I'm sure she's just thrilled that you honored her in that way. So Rickey, as Kia's husband and business partner, what was your initial reaction when she bought, or I guess probably when you both thought about bringing the idea of creating affirmation dolls, and how did you decide to go all in and make this a joint venture with her?
Yeah, so like she said, just saying the affirmations to our daughter Kyla every day, it was just powerful. And we know with everything going on in society, you see all the bullying, and it's all on social media bullying now, body shaming, all types of stuff. So that's kind of encouraged us to like start early with the affirmations, but making it a joint venture and making it a product is, just trying to impact, all these young girls, because they need to hear that as early as possible. And not just young girls, but young boys.
Yes.
So that's something that we want to do in the future. But it started out because we got the young daughter, we got the great idea with the doll. Yeah, it was kind of built out of necessity. And one of our things we like to do, we want to bring positivity to the world, and we want to impact our community in a positive light. So
Yeah, well, that's great that you guys are doing that together. I think that really helps too when your children look at you, being able to do a business together, and also a business that is there to help create better self-esteem. And as well as I do, that creating that type of foundation for a child is so important, because it really helps to shape how they see themselves in the world.
Yes.
exactly.
And how powerful they are in the world. So I know you said you started with 4 affirmations. Did you include any more than 4? And how did you choose which affirmations to use in the doll?
Yeah, so the core 4 are the exact same that we had, and so we didn't add anymore.
Okay.
will be interesting to see like what the future holds, especially with like AI and just like different cool things and insights that can be given there. And
Hmm.
so I mean, so all the affirmations, I'm beautiful, just like we make
Hmm.
sure, and it's a door to open conversation.
Hmm.
Even if a little girl may not know, like, mommy, what does beautiful mean? Then you get the opportunity to explain it. That's the first one. I'm strong, which we're strong, yes, right? I'm smart because you want them to believe that they are smart. And
Right.
the last one, I'm going to change the world. And
Mm.
so that's my favorite. That's the one that Kyya has on. It
Oh,
says,
she's
I'm
so
going to
cute.
change the world.
Hmm.
And
So
so
cute.
I always just talk about like, sometimes the world may seem big to some people. It's like
Right.
you change your part of the world. Do what you're supposed to do,
That's so
within
true.
you, whatever your world looks like.
That's so
If your
true.
world just looks like your family, then change that. And I
I
think from
like that.
another question, I think that I feel like self-esteem should be included in like school. And me and my husband were just talking about this. I'm like, that can stop you from doing a lot of stuff.
It really
If
can.
you don't believe in yourself, like you can be the smartest person on the planet, but
That's
won't open
right.
your mouth. And if you don't know if you like, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just an
No,
essential
it's
thing.
so true though. I
I'm
think
sorry.
it's
I
just as
got
essential, because it's true. If you don't believe in yourself, it doesn't matter, how much book intelligence you have or anything like that. But if you don't believe in yourself, you're never going to show that side of you. And unfortunately, there's still adults that don't believe in themselves enough to make changes in their own lives. So I think being able to establish that when they're young is just so important. It's really so powerful to be able to do for them. So when you thought about creating a doll, had you ever created anything like that before? And if not, what was your first steps to getting that done?
So I have never in my life completed anything like that. Have you?
No.
Okay. I played with a lot of dolls. I've cut their hair. I've
Hmm.
done script, but I've never created. So the first thing was we just started looking at production companies. We wanted to do a production company that was in the United States.
Hmm.
So we were able to get that, but then it's outsourced still to get the
Right.
but we just researched some production companies, set up a few meetings, and
Okay.
we were able to tell them like, well, I want her to have two ponytails. I want them to
Hmm.
have clothes. I want to, all
Hmm.
of that stuff was very fun for me.
Yeah, yeah. I give her the credit for doing those research and product development companies. Then kind of landed on one, and it was just very interesting to create something from scratch.
Yes.
Everything about the dog we had input on, like from the smallest of the features, even the voice box. My daughter couldn't talk at the time we created the dog. She couldn't talk clearly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
one of our friends' daughters is the voice behind the voice box. So just everything
Okay.
about the doll is just we
It's
put
so
our
special.
yeah, it's so
It's so
special.
special.
Yeah.
That is so cool. I was literally going to ask you about that, about the technology behind the voice box, and what are challenges for you that you had to overcome to get that right, or to get it to sound the way you wanted to, even though friend's daughter did the voice. With this changes that you needed to make?
I just think it's been a learning process. I can
Yeah.
say that when you said that, like, yes, it has been a lot. So no, yeah, a lot. But
Yeah. And
so
and
we have,
I want you to share that, because
oh
people
yes,
listen to this show because not just because they want to see doll makers, but they also want to get a glimpse into what it takes to bring something, like you said, from idea to to production.
yeah. So that good old voice box. So we knew that like it had to be included, right? Like
Right.
there was no way we couldn't do it. So I don't know. They have like it's an activation, like how
Mm-hmm.
you activate that all. Number one, it's on the bottom of the box. It's very small. So we had to make sure that we made it visible on our website, and we made sure
Okay.
that they get the instructions when it's delivered. But
Mm-hmm.
that's one thing. I do think that next time, I think I'll probably print the paper out and just so I can see everything visually.
Right. Right. Mm-hmm.
So learning little things like that. And with the doll having a battery in her, I think that they have it where you pull out that little tab and then
Yes.
it's supposed to
Then it
turn.
activates. Mm-hmm.
But there was some dolls that needed a battery replacement.
Right. Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
just different things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So although it was a no-brainer, like we had to have it, it's kind of been a challenge.
Yeah,
Right.
then you talk about during the development phase, like we had them like say the four affirmations, and but when we listened to it, it didn't sound right. So
Right.
when we kind of had our daughter do it, but that didn't sound right. So that's we kind of landed on getting a older girl. So
Mm-hmm.
multiple drafts to get the
Right.
final version, whether it's voice bots and as well as the clothing, the way the doll looked. Like the first few drafts of how the doll's face was let's just say it wasn't up to our standard. I'll leave it at that. But going through that process, that's the beauty of owning it. Like don't be satisfied with what they give you. Like
Yeah.
whatever
Right.
they just give
Yes,
you,
yes.
like
That's
you
so
get
important. Yes.
at
Thank you for
the end
sharing
of the
that.
day, it's gonna be your name on the product. So get
Yeah.
it how you want it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so important. Thank you for saying that because I think a lot of times people who get into that, they may do have a little bit of fear because they go to a company and they figure the company knows everything, right? So, but it's not about that. It's about what you want to create and what you want to bring forward. And if that company doesn't fit with your idea,
Yeah.
then you may have to look for something else. But it seems
Mhm.
like, the company that you found eventually, was you were able to work with and get good production out of that. So, did you have a small run? Or did you have to do like, $4,000 or $5,000?
Oh
And
yeah, so that's gonna sound really small. I know that sounded big to us because I mean we've never done anything like this. So
right.
the minimum order was $1,000.
Oh,
And
that's
so,
wonderful.
yeah, is it?
Yeah. No, it
Woo!
is. That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah. Usually you have to do a lot more. So,
Yes.
but at the time we were all like just self-funded. I wish we kind of would have looked at, you know,
Other
talking
alternative
to a
ways.
bank, whether it's
Hmm.
getting the loans, business loans, purchasing the $1,000, was a lot for us.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Looking
totally.
back in hindsight, we would have did things a little bit different.
I understand that. I mean, yeah, having that upfront money, can definitely be a challenge when you're bootstrapping it, as they say,
Yeah.
pretty
Mhm.
much. But I think that that's one of the challenges of us creating dolls, right? It is the fact that it does cost so much money to do that, and you have to figure out different ways to process those costs. And see what works best for you and your family, or you and the business in general. So thank you for sharing that. What other complications or challenges did you have when it came to manufacturing and product development?
I would say the skin complexion. So when I selected, it didn't look like what they gave me back.
Hmm.
I was like, she looks, no offense, she looks borderline white.
Right, right.
Like I want the doll to look, I want my
Hmm.
daughter to be able to see herself in the doll. And it's not to say that a Caucasian doll won't be made in the future, but because I am who I am and my
Right.
daughter is who she is, I want to create that visibility because
Hmm.
to be honest, like there's not even a lot of representation when you walk through the aisles of
Hmm.
Walmart or Target or whatever.
Right, right.
So yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would definitely say that she looked like Michael Jackson. I was like, oh no. I was,
The light
Love
skin.
it.
yes.
Light skin version.
It's it was not funny at the time. I probably could have cried, but that is one thing that we look back on and when we look at the picture, like all we can do is laugh. It's
Hmm. Hmm.
awful.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so,
yeah.
I think it just with that, I thought that the sample looked darker and
Hmm. Then when you got it, right. Yeah.
like, whew,
Yeah. So
yeah.
the challenges is colors. And I know speaking with other doll creators, it's the hair usually too, especially if they're doing something that's more of a natural type of hair. It's,
Mhm.
they've been having a lot of challenges with hair and definitely skin tones, and you would think that a lot of these companies now get a lot of people who are African American who want to make dolls that they would already have an idea of what we look like. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
would I would think that, but it's interesting you're still having those issues of, what kind of colors, they want to send back to you. and as acceptable. And I appreciate you standing up and saying, no, that's not how I want this doll to look at the end of the
The
day.
pushback is very important. The first few drafts is like, nah, this is not it. That's not the image we're trying to portray. And now we have a beautiful doll, but it didn't start out that way. You gotta push back.
How many variations did you have of the doll?
I think probably five.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
five.
And each variation costs money, doesn't it?
So at first we was like doing sketches and stuff.
Okay.
As far as like when we got the first prototype,
Mm-hmm.
I think by the
We
time
have to
we
finalize that.
by the
Like,
time we got an
yeah.
actual doll in our hand,
Mm-hmm.
that was the one was good. So they did one, but it was
I
not
think
up to
that,
our standard. Then the
Mm-hmm.
next was good, and that's the one that got shipped to us.
yeah, they kind of was doing like one change at a time, and then we would have to like okay it and move forward. And so some of the things
Okay.
stopped there. Like they went from like pencil to color to like
Mm-hmm.
everything kind of building upon. So
Okay.
the little minor things happened during that time.
Okay.
And I think that they were understanding, and they knew that this was something that was new to us,
Mm-hmm.
but not in the sense of like they were trying to get over anything,
Right.
but
Right.
just,
Mm-hmm.
being
Mm-hmm.
knowledgeable and being, given
Yes.
what they thought was the best direction
Mm-hmm. Right.
based on the clients that they serve.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good though. I mean, it seemed
Mhm.
like overall you had a pretty good manufacturing company, that you found somebody that was really good and worked with you really well. That means everything when you're producing a doll, you have to have a company that you can work with. It's great that they provide you feedback, but that they also listen to your feedback,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know.
Yes.
And I know you were talking earlier when you were talking about getting the doll back and it wasn't the color that you wanted. And you were saying how important it is to have something that looked like your daughter. So why do you think it's so important for children, especially young Black girls, right? To see dolls that look like them and to, that affirms their worth. Not saying that just because you have a doll that you're not worthy or are worthy, but just the fact that there's a doll that says, hey, I'm important too, and I have a place in this space in the doll community. Yeah.
Honestly, I think it means everything because, like we had talked about before, like self-esteem and confidence, if you don't have that, that will close so many doors for you. And you can be the next big thing in whatever field it is. I mean, you could be a doctor, like, but if you don't have the confidence and you don't have the self-esteem first, like, who wants a doctor that doesn't even believe in themselves? So how can you treat me?
Yeah.
How are we going to even come up with a care plan here? If you're just like, well, I don't know, like I don't want to step on your toes. Like, I think it is so, so, so important because
Mhm.
even though it seems like little something small, like doll play is
Mm.
shown to be like one of the like you learn so much playing with dolls. You really do. And to just be able to walk in the store and see like, man, I even like that the bigger companies, they even the Barbies are starting to have like thicker legs and stuff like
Mhm.
that. Because like that's really how we look. Um,
Yes.
and it's important. But I don't think in the African American community that we don't like go after our dreams, or we don't have as many people that's saying like, okay, if
Mhm.
that's what you want to do it. And
Right.
people that you can look up to. So I think that it's very, very important that they see themselves in the
Mhm.
doll
Right.
that we create. Because then they like, okay, well, if she can do that, then I can do that. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like that.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think what you were saying too is the fact that dolls are a very important part of a young child's life, whether it's a boy or girl. I've had many people on my prior show and this show, just because they're male doesn't mean that they don't play with dolls either. And I think that's a stigma that people have, because I think it is allows them to have creativity, allows them to be able to have something to talk to and interact
Yeah.
with, and feel safe around sometimes, and I think that's so important. So speaking on that point, Ricky, I know you have a daughter, and I know it's important for girls to play with dolls. And do you have any kind of ideas of, young boys having dolls, or having dolls as, having boy dolls as well? Like what do you see in that space, and how do you feel that dolls can help you whether you're a young boy or a girl?
Yeah, I think it's real key. I think I know me growing up, I had like, the action figures.
Right.
I just watching my daughter and knowing, what a lot of kids do, like the creativity, the imagination, that just playing with a doll,
Mm-hmm.
what that does to a kid, and just helps build them. I think it's just amazing. Like the
Mhm.
conversations that she'll be having, I'll just be kind of listening and like be
Right.
like, wow, like, I can't believe she thinking about that because she picked up everything, like things that her
Right.
mom said to her siblings. It's like
Yes.
the doll will be doing the same thing. So I think, so circling that back around with boys, like growing up when I had my toys I played with, my action figures, my men,
Mm-hmm.
I'm everything that I'm seeing in the world, I'm incorporating that in my little imaginative play with
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
the action
Yeah.
figures. So
Yeah. I think it's important. I think, like you said, it allows them to be creative regardless of, what gender they are. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? To be able to make that connection and find something within a doll or a plush doll or action figure that serves them and it can help them to be creative and be more, confident in who they
Yeah.
are. So
Everybody asks us like a product for males. Like that's the next thing.
mm-hmm,
Because we also have three sons as well. They're older, but it's just amazing to see like different kids that even live in the same house, how different they can be. Um,
mm-hmm.
we have one like overly confident kid, and then one is like is not confident at all. So I wish I can like evenly
Mm-hmm.
like disperse it. But it's just key.
Yeah, it
Key.
really is key. So now that you have the doll, you created this beautiful doll. Let's talk a little bit about marketing and how do you reach your audience, right? How have you been able to get the word out about your dolls and a couple, I guess, marketing strategies that you have used that you felt were effective in reaching parents really about what you do.
Whew, that marketing, and I went, whew,
I think that's the thing
that struggle.
that we struggle with the most,
Mm-hmm.
get brand awareness. That's things that we got to get a lot better at.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Whose reviews, we've done.
a
Uh,
lot of different things,
we had
honestly.
two commercials,
Okay.
like local in our local Cincinnati area. We've done commercials.
We did
We
like
news
Facebook.
appearances.
Yeah, we have
Mm-hmm.
done news appearances. The Facebook ads
Mm-hmm.
have done. We did some ads, ran some ads on Walmart because our
Mm.
dog is also on Walmart.com.
Okay.
Um, so we did some Walmart ads. It was just a lot of different things. I went to a entrepreneurship school here in Cincinnati,
Mm-hmm.
and so they provide like a lot of opportunities. And so another thing that we also tried for marketing was we got some students that were about to graduate, and so they like took over our social media accounts for like
Okay. Nice.
30 days or something. So that was, that was cool. I feel like we've done a lot. I feel as if I have taken so many marketing classes, but that's just not God's like I don't think he wants me in that space. But for right now, I have to be in it. Like, so, like
Mm-hmm.
my husband said, like, we just have to get better. It's just one of those things that you just have to get better. And
Mm-hmm.
even though I don't understand it, I'm always seeking classes that like teach something new
Mm-hmm.
because I already feel like I'm behind. So I definitely don't want to get behind on
Right.
like just newer
Right.
things. Like I'm not gonna stop just because.
Yeah,
So
I get that. Well, that's
yeah.
great. I mean, I'm glad you said that because I think in anything, no matter what you learn, it's always a process, right? You learn it, you do it. That doesn't work, then you do something else. It's always about pivoting and it's always about changing, and especially being an entrepreneur, right? And especially in the dog community because there are a lot of different ways that you can market your product, a lot of different avenues that you can go about to be able to share what it is that you have, but I think you need to find a niche, not find a niche, but at least find a one or two that's really comfortable that you like doing,
Mhm.
because there's so many different ways, and
Yeah,
you don't want to get lost in that process either, because then you become so
yeah.
overwhelmed that you can't really move forward.
That is true. You can become overwhelmed, like
Yeah.
trying to learn so much, and it's just like,
Yeah, yeah.
I,
It's about building a community. It's so funny because I just think back to when me and me and my friend Audrey created plus size fashion dolls. I know you were talking about dolls with different sizes, but we
uh-huh.
created a plus size doll 20 something years ago. Basically, all we got was why does anybody want a fat doll? That's what they would say to us, and we'd be like, oh my gosh, like, okay, first of all, they're plus size, and second of
Wait a
all,
minute,
they are plus
exactly.
size people. Okay,
Yes.
so
Right.
so I understand the challenges of doing something different, and showcasing something different to the world. But it was so much more simpler then. Like, we put it on a website and we talked to everybody. That was pretty much all we had back about in 2000. Now
Mhm.
there's so many ways to market and so many things. You can get overwhelmed. So this is just my feedback, and I'm sure people who are watching the show will have their own feedback. Just pick two lanes for yourself, to make it more streamlined for you. As long as you build a community, and hopefully, by you being on the Dollpreneur podcast, people will find out about you and find out more about what it is that you're doing with your dolls. And that's really what I want to have happen for you and for all the other doll creators that I speak to. Um, so I know marketing is challenging. What other challenges have you had as entrepreneurs? And what's been I guess, the most difficult part of launching your business and growing the dolls?
You want to go?
Yeah.
I'll think while you go.
Yeah, that
Unless you take mine, then I'm gonna
the good thing is like getting our brand out there. We're 100% self-funded, so I think we would have did things a lot different. We kind
Mm,
of looked at some other avenues financially, because it kind of, strap you. We can invest into some things that we would like to,
right,
just use our own money all the
yeah.
time.
right.
That was one big takeaway. Like, we should have kind of did things a little bit differently. And then just the entrepreneur training classes we've taken over the past couple years, like, that would have been, if we would have got on that earlier. We
Mhm.
learned so much, doing these different boot camps and stuff, and seeing how people have, they didn't do things right in the beginning, but they learned so much and they're giving that feedback to us. We can't wait to be able to, help other people come up the
Mhm.
same way, because it has been a struggle on our entrepreneurship journey.
Mhm.
But I mean, we're better for it because we learned so much, and we got knowledge to help other people.
Yeah, and also not like I feel like motivation, sometimes you do need like a little bit of light to be shined, right? Because we are self-funded and the money that we use to self-funded came from my mother-in-law and what she have left behind for him. So
Hmm.
I just feel like for me personally, it makes me like lock in, like Kia, you have to do this. Like I like some days it's like I don't know how, but literally like I have all these Bible things on the back of my phone, like, and just being like, Lord, like, what is my lane? Like, I'm sorry,
Hmm.
I'm spiritual. Like, what is it? I need, because I'm struggling here.
Yeah, yeah,
And I am very like transparent. So yes, marketing is
yeah.
one of those things that have definitely that's been a struggle for us and a struggle that we are working to overcome.
Hmm.
But I would be lying if I said that it was not. I'm a mom too.
Yeah.
So like I do still have time that I want to spend with my
Hmm.
kids that are not like, oh, let me put this camera up right here. So people are like, just let them see what you're doing in the day. I'm like, that's just not natural for me.
Right.
You
No, I
it's,
get
it's
that.
just
Yes.
not.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm
Yeah.
struggling to put up a post every day or a couple times a day, what are you like? Goodness, like, oh no.
but that but look, fortunately, right, you have to be able to um create the type of business you want to create for yourself in that sense, right? um Unfortunately, doing things outside of your comfort zone is part of being an entrepreneur at the
Yes.
end of the day, and you guys know that already, right? Because I'm
Oh, yeah.
sure getting into this space was not like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna let's make a doll, right? You see the type of things that you need to do to create a doll. It's not
Mhm.
just like, oh, I have a doll, I have an idea. There's so many other things that you have to, learn in the process of doing that. So it is kind of a fickle kind of place to be as an entrepreneur. Like, you don't want to put everything out there, but at the same time, you need to put enough out there so people know who you are and get a
Yes,
sense of
absolutely.
you, and your dream and your vision and your goal. So
Mhm.
I definitely understand. I understand being in the, the the crux of that, you know what I mean, as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But you guys are doing great. I mean, you guys are doing amazing, and you had a vision and you brought it to life. And I think that's really that's I think that is the biggest, the hardest hurdle is bringing
Yeah.
it to life.
Yeah.
Now you just got to tweak things along the way and figure out what fits for you,
Yeah.
and pick your lane and just drive that home.
Yeah.
So since you've been through this, how do you feel it's the impact that this has on your children, seeing you guys do this?
I think for me, just with our boys, because our boys are all teenagers, and just kind of showing them that it's different avenues to follow your dreams. Like
Mhm.
because my whole life I always worked for somebody else, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm still working for
Right,
somebody
right.
else. But I
Yeah.
got the business, and you just showing them like if it's something that you want to do, you can build your own company and it's gonna be as successful as you make it. So,
Mhm.
our oldest son, he has his own clothing business, and
Mm-hmm.
I like to think that some of that is driven by, you see us, start our own thing and,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
bring a product from our minds to out on a website or a store shelf.
Mm-hmm.
So, just motivating them that there's other ways to get to where you want to get in life.
Right.
And for our daughter, I mean, she's really at that age because she's 6. So sh- she is our ideal customer. However,
Mm-hmm.
she's also the ideal 6-year-old. So
I
she
love
wants
that.
everything. And so she probably can't figure out like, why are y'all so stuck on this doll? We try to like, but that's like we go to the store and we're still buying dolls. So like the effect on her is like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We're just trying to raise her up and the boys too to be just good humans. At
Yes,
the end of
that's
the
so
day,
true.
we just want you to be
Oh my
want
goodness.
you to be good, do good
That's right.
to those around you,
Yeah.
like respectful, like so just different things like that. Um, and even how the business have gotten us different opportunities to be able to speak and go places. I think just having the ability to do that, you know,
Right.
and them seeing like the pivot, them seeing the dedication, them seeing
Mm-hmm.
blood, sweat, tears, them seeing us sitting in this office like for hours on end. I'm not laying in the bed. I mean,
Right.
I'm a full-time entrepreneur. Nobody's gonna be like, Kia, hello. Gotta like no. So
Right.
that fire has to be within me. So I
That's
think
true.
they just see hard workers with us. And I hope they see two people going out there to chase their dream, you know?
Yeah.
And
That's
so
beautiful.
I wholeheartedly believe that my husband, though he's working for somebody now, that we can build the business up to where we can both be full-time
Mhm.
entrepreneurs doing what we love and
Right.
make impact. So making an income while making an impact. So
Great. I love it. I love that. Making an
yeah,
income while making an impact. That's great. I love
yeah,
that. So one
yeah.
more question. What do you see the future of affirmation dolls? What do you see that being? What is your vision for that, for the early affirmation dolls?
So I think I think the future is bright, obviously. We have been moving into like an education space where we're doing this like power hour thing and
Okay.
going to like daycares, after school programs, different things like that. And we have like a curriculum that
Okay.
is very fun, upbeat, like fast paced
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And everything kind of relates back to affirmations.
Mm-hmm.
And so definitely doing more of that. just expanding the product line, and maybe not just being dolls, just being toys, but always just staying true to what we believe, which is the affirmations and stuff. And I think you said earlier, and people say it all the time, like, we all need affirmations.
Yes,
I
we
have
do.
affirmations all around me. So the future is bright. I have to make sure I stay up on AI to see how AI can help
Can
me.
help you. Yes. Yes.
And how it can help us to like propel our business forward. But I definitely believe we'll be a multicultural toy company in the future that has multiple products. Speaking and having programs that we can go and have other people or teach other people
Teach other people.
how to help others. Because the reality is we can't touch everybody, but the people that we can touch, if we can give them some like soft skills and stuff to learn, that they can
Yes.
go out there and do it. Because we're very, very big on just like impact. Impact is big. So I definitely see our impact being great in the near future.
I
Did
love
I?
it.
Yeah, you cover. Just expanding that product line. Like right now, we just have the doll.
Right.
A lot of things that we could do, to expand our product line because it's not great to have all your eggs in one basket. So, for entrepreneurs out there, we need to follow what I'm about to say, but have other products, not just your main product, but other
Right.
products that
Yes.
can bring income to you
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
build your business.
Yeah, that's true.
Now,
Well,
do you have any advice for us? Because you are like, you have all the doll experience and all
all the doll experience.
in
Well, what I
doll.
do, my advice to you is really just to really kind of stay strong in your vision, right? No matter what happens, right? Your vision is about empowering, young people, within the affirmation space. And you
Mhm.
can do that. Like you said, I do think you need to probably create something else out of that doll, or maybe that doll is selling, I don't know, books about affirmations or postcards, whatever it is. But I think those two things can definitely stay in alignment with each other, and it can help you to grow, differently.
Yeah.
Not just a doll, but that doll, oh, you could talk about, hey, my doll reads affirmations. How does she read them? She has her own book, her own set of
Mhm.
cards, her own this or that. So make the dog can still be a main product, but because she still has a world within that space, she's a doll world. And in her doll
Yeah.
world, she uses these things to help her feel good.
All right.
I
You
like
know?
you. That's coming from an expert.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. So since we talked about your dolls and everybody wants to know, how can they find your beautiful doll? Where can they follow you at, and just share some information about how they can connect with you?
Our website is Early Affirmation, completely spelled out, dolls with the S.com. So earlyaffirmationdolls.com.
Okay.
On Instagram and TikTok, it's just at Early Affirmation Dolls. I do a little bit on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is my full name, Kia Davis. But when you go, you'll see the Early Affirmation,
Link
the
to
logo,
it.
all
Mm-hmm.
that. Yep. The doll can also be purchased on our website. On our website, we do have Afterpay for our customers if they do
Okay.
need that, because I wanted to
Oh,
make sure
good.
that was available.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kia and Ricky, for being on the Dollpreneur podcast. It's been so great having you talk about your journey and just learning a little bit more about you and the love that you have for making others and children feel confident and having self-esteem. And I think that's so important in their lives, So thank you so much for doing all of this beautiful and hard work, bringing a doll to market, and I look forward to you building a beautiful company together. So thank you so much
Thank
for being
you.
on the
Thank you.
Dollpreneur podcast. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We
Thank
appreciate the
you.
opportunity.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much for joining us at the Dollpreneur podcast. We really hope you enjoyed the episode and feel inspired by our amazing guests, as well as learn something new about the creative people within the doll community. So don't forget to visit our website at www.thedollpreneurpodcast.com for more content. And please, we would love for you to stay connected to us. So please subscribe to the Dollpreneur Podcast newsletter, YouTube channel, Instagram, and Facebook pages. And they can all be found at the website, www.thedollpreneurpodcast.com. Thank you again for listening to the Dollpreneur Podcast. And until next time, have a doll fabulous day.